Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the Empire, who shall be led by the Huntsman General, and he's got a pretty sweet mustache as well. And today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Vampire Counts, who shall be led by the Red Duke, Elsif himself, and it looks like he's going to be on a Hell Steed. So as far as the build goes, we're going to be going for some heavy defensive missile pressure. So in total, we have 3 groups of the Huntsman, and I really do like Huntsman quite a bit in this matchup. They can kite and fight a little bit. They have anti-large, not the best AP values to really drag down, terror guys and things like that. But I think that their kind of ability to stick and move in conjunction with their bonus versus large really makes them a good choice. We have 3 of those bad boys. We do also have a Huntsman General who's going to be trying to get that juicy buff off. It's really, really hard against Vampire Counts because the targets you often want to, throw the tar on and shoot down with fire damage are going to be Terror Gooses and Hell Steeds and things like that. And they're really fast and kind of hard to hit. And I mean, if they're moving at all and you try and throw the jar of oil at them, it's going to be very, very hard to hit them. But nonetheless, we want to try and apply this, slow them down, apply that fire weakness, use the Flaming Sword of Ruin, the Arrow of Akshai, the Hail of Fire, and basically just do an overload of fire damage. So we have the Huntsman General here, 3 groups of Huntsmen, and now for the rest of the army, we do of course have the Bright Wizard. The Bright Wizard here is going to be shooting fireballs, imbuing the Flaming Sword of Ruin on our missile unit, so giving the Huntsman fire damage, and even if we don't get the big combo off, it's still pretty good. You're getting 22% damage, you're getting fire damage, which on its own is going to be doing bonus damage against the Terror Goose, which is weak to fire, so definitely quite cool. And now to kind of sweep up our back line to make sure we don't get crumped too badly by the Vampire Count pressure. I mean, obviously, yeah, you can have all the missiles you want, but you need to have assets to protect them. So we do have Demogryph Knights with halberds, and the reason why I don't bring the Royal Outdoor Gryphites is because obviously terror isn't that good against Vampire Counts, or it's not good at all. So Demogryph Knights with halberds are going to be teamed up with the Warrior Priest, who's going to be going very cheap, just kind of the Walmart budget version. We just have him with the Grand Soulfire and the Scroll of Power, which does a ton of damage against Vampire Count chaff. Like, it tears apart zombies, skeletons, fellbats, you name it. It's very, very good at just clearing out that mess. So for the back line, we do have Flagellants and Sigmar's Son, so quite an unbreakable front line here with a couple spears in reserve and then some halberds on the far sides of the formation. So it should be pretty durable. I mean, these guys aren't going to break. Halberds take forever to break, and yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty solid little build. So for my opponent's force, he does have the glorious Terror Goose up in the sky, and it's pretty much one of the more competitive picks. The Terror Goose is just very hard to deal with. Even with ample missile pressure and focus fire, it's still very hard. If it's juking, getting healed with indications, and it doesn't get caught, let's say, in Demogryph Knights, it's going to be very tough to break down. And it can snipe your characters, your cav units can take a beating. Definitely a very, very scary goose. On top of that, we do have the Red Duke. The Red Duke's going to be coming in with Invocation, Raise Dead, Elsif. That's pretty much it. Just going for the budget version of the Duke. And frontline's going to be zombies, skeleton warriors with some Graveguard in the back, and some wild Cairn Wraith picks here. So I do have some magic damage in the form of Flaming Sword. So I had about like Lore of Life, for example. I certainly would not have had a lot of ways to really put down these Cairn Wraiths. So this is quite an X-Factor pick. And if somebody does kind of tech in with great swords, these guys are actually pretty effective there. They have good AP values and can really get in there and endure. On the far side, it looks like some Blood Knights, some Doggies, and I think that's pretty much it. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here on the crossroads. It's pretty easy to see everything. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the most fun unit in my army, the Temple of LUMINARK. Yes, we're going to be dropping some bows and trying to get some good burst damage. So first shot is going to be coming off from the Temple of LUMINARK. The warning shot going to be sent at the Red Duke, and will it make contact? Here comes the first shot, and it is going to be blasting the Duke, doing huge damage. So he just moved like a second too late and actually took some pretty substantial damage. Now he should be able to heal, and here you can see the Huntsman with that heavy focus fire, able to really just burn down some Fellbats. So far, really good value. We took out a group of Fellbats, which is 350 gold. The Duke has taken some damage, but of course, he's going to be healing with Invocation of the Hex, so it's not going to be too bad for him. We're also going to be charging him with the Gryphites. They're going to be coming in to clean up the Fellbats, and still just kind of sitting the Temple Meme Luminark on the Red Duke. But of course, my opponent, once you taste the wrath of the Temple of Luminark, you're going to be a little bit more careful next time. So we are able to kind of, or he's able to dodge that. And in the meantime, some dogs are coming in to try and chase down the Huntsman, but the brave Sigmar's Sons are going to surge forward to protect their countrymen. A couple doggies do get through, but they're certainly going to get kind of tugged on the AI and kind of held into these Sigmar Sons right here. Huntsmen are going to continue falling back, and now at this point, there's going to be pressure coming in. The infantry are coming in, Blood Knights are coming in, certainly going to be a lot of nasty stuff, and the Blood Knights have a pretty good charge here. I mean, if they want to, the Flagellants are a very juicy target, but it looks like he's going to be pulling back, realizing that he would be taking a ton of Overwatch fire. We do also use the Flaming Sword of Ruin. I thought he was going to be coming in, but he just kind of kept juking outwards, so definitely some good stuff there. But now we have magic damage on all the Huntsmen here, and we're just going to be blasting into the Cairn Race. The magic damage just eviscerating them. Huge, huge damage. And you can see the Cairn Race here pretty much done for. I mean, the Flagellants should be able to finish them off at this point, despite the fact that we can't shoot them as efficiently. Granted, Huntsmen, much like crossbowmen, can actually shoot somewhat well when something is kind of engaged in melee combat. So here the Red Duke's going to be going after the LUMINARK here. I do get a net off using the bound ability from the Temple of LUMINARK, and I'm not sure what he was doing here. It's kind of weird. He like wound up a shot And he was like shooting while he's moving, and then it just like randomly shoots at the ground. It was very, very strange. I've never seen that happen before. But the Duke does get netted. Our Huntsmen are going to be shooting up in the sky after the Red Duke, and he does get Invocation and Foe Seeker, so he's going to be a little bit slippery once he gets free. And the Huntsmen are a little bit mucked up. So there are some zombies back here. There's Fellbats in the other groups. I have them in guard mode, so they're still going to keep trying to shoot here. And I got a little bit kind of ambitious, sending in the Bright Wizard to try and goon out that Red Duke there. But the Red Duke, even in this, beleaguered state, is going to be able to do a ton of damage. So the Temple Meme LUMINARK is going to keep trying to fall back. Blood Knights over here do get a decent charge. It looks like they were trying to, I think, catch my character, maybe slip back towards the Temple off LUMINARK, and I was able to intercept them. But you can see the Soulfire Bombardment going down, doing some okay damage. We do pop the Scroll of Power, and we're going to be going for that sweet 1-2 punch. So very, very nice catch here. We're able to get the Blood Knights with some spears. We have the Warrior Priests. We have the Demogryph Knights who are going to be able to chase him. Granted, if my front line does crumble and he's able to get into my Huntsman and these other troops, I could be in dire straits for sure. So the Goose here is going to be going after the Huntsman. Might not be a bad idea to go after the Huntsman General. I think he's a little bit isolated over there. Granted, shutting down these missile units isn't a bad idea. He's probably just trying to break these guys off and get a little bit slow on the micro here with these guys. I think I was doing something in the back line. Anyways, here you can see that the Demogryph Knights with halberds are going to be sweeping onto the Blood Knights here, and the Blood Knights are very beat up. Plus, I have the support of a Warrior Priest, and I think there's going to be a second Soulfire Bombardment here. And as a matter of fact, So they just released the Free Cities of Sigmar for Age of Sigmar, and as much as I'm not a fan of the lore of Age of Sigmar, what it means is it allows me to actually build an Empire army, basically, with Demogryph Knights, so I'm going to be ordering a couple of Demogryph Knight model boxes for my fantasy army, which I'm very excited to start. So the Terror Goose is going to be charging into the back line. Zombie summons are kind of mucking up a lot of my troops and halting my advance here, and you can see the LUMINARK does unfortunately miss the Red Duke once again, and the Red Duke and the Goose look like they're going to be going in after the Temple off LUMINARK, which I'm okay with, because then I can kind of fan out my archers, potentially get some good pot shots. And the thing about Huntsmen is they can't shoot while they're moving if they're running. It's much like Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, but they can shoot while they're chasing. So if you're like hunting something down, it kind of makes sense, right? Really nice zombie summon from my opponent there, able to kind of target some Huntsmen here. The LUMINARK's trying to get away, and I don't have too many supporting elements. I am going to get the Huntsman General, and he's going to take some pot shots here at the Red Duke, and the other group of Huntsmen is going to be turning about face and getting some good work in. And also, the Royal Outdwarf Gryphites do swarm into the back line, or excuse me, the regular Gryphites, or the regular Demogryphs. And we do also have the Warrior Priest, and we do get a net of Ambitalk with the LUMINARK before it breaks here, so definitely very good stuff. And a Fireball is going to be coming downtown. Is it going to get the Duke? It doesn't look like it, because he kind of took off, and I don't think the Fireball quite has the tracing capabilities to just go straight up vertical. You can see it tries to, but yeah, it's not going to be able to make contact. The Duke, in the meantime, is doing a pretty good job juking my shots, and here comes another hard charge into the LUMINARK. He probably knows that this thing could like blast him into another dimension here. So yeah, he's going to be trying to finish it, and it looks like he does break it. The Hail of Fire did go down. I tried to get that reload skill for the LUMINARK here, and the Huntsman General is in a bit of a scary situation. I mean, Red Duke is one of the better duelists in the game. I mean, 78 with LC, very, very scary stuff, but yeah, we need to get some pot shots. He's just so freaking low. Balance Power is actually coming back towards the middle a little bit, but we are using the Warrior Priest to clean up the zombie chaff using the Bombardment ability, the Grand Soulfire. Demogryph Knights with halberds are able to hold the Terror Goose in place, but it looks like there are some Graveguard coming into the back line, but for the most part, my Brave Sons of Sigmar have been holding the front line. You can see Flagellants here holding back the Graveguard. I mean, even if they lose, they're unbreakable and they buy time, which is really nice. Balance of Power is getting dangerously close to the middle, guys, but the Red Duke is finally slain. The Huntsman General does get afflicted by LC here, but it looks like he is able to take out the Red Duke with the help of the Bright Wizard. So, the Empire doesn't fight alone. They have the Brotherhood. They fight, shoulder to shoulder, and they just go in deep here. But now the Huntsman General is going to be getting hunted, 36 to 27, so I do charge in with the Bright Wizard here. I'm going to be trying to slow these guys down, and the Huntsman General still could come back and provide some very, very good firepower. Balance Power is actually like pretty much dead in the middle here. So you can see the Terror Goose is going to be going for my back line, trying to get on the Huntsman here, so the Griffins are going to be charging in, and we get a nice little charge for sure, a little bit kind of boxy here. The Flaming Sword of Ruin is going to be going down, so now that I have fire damage, this Terrorgeist is going to be taking so much damage from the anti-large halberds, an extra 22% as a matter of fact. We do also charge in with the Bright Wizard, who is buffed by the Flaming Sword of Ruin, and we're able to get some really, really good damage here. So now you can see we're starting to get a pretty decent control over the Balance of Power here. Huntsmen are shooting in, and I mean, I can usually kite the zombies, and he has no more summons, so there's not going to be too many ways to target my infantry. Up here, halberds are just kind of going to be holding back Graveguard with great weapons. Flagellants as well as Spearmen are holding back these guys. And my other halberds, which just finished off some other units, are going to be kind of jumping back there. So the Warrior Priest is going to take a fat breath attack. Really nice one there from the Goose. And now he's going to be charging in. The Warrior Priest is going to be jumping back into some supporting elements. And I did have the Scroll of Blasting here on the Bright Wizard, which does some nice fire damage there to the Terrorgeist. The Huntsmen are shooting in anti-large. Though it lacks AP, like I said, it's just like Norskin Javelins. It still does a lot of work. So the Terrorgeist is finally going to fall. Now we really just have to grind down Graveguard, and there's still a lot of them. I mean, there's 84 of these bad boys here, so the Demogryph Knights are going to be falling back. Halberds are going to be falling back because we have the ranged tools. Like, why fight them in melee when we have ammo and we have the speed advantage? Granted, the Spearmen, a little bit slow. That was their leadership. I was like, how do they have 18 speed? They're much faster than that. So the zombie summon here is going to be dissipating in just a moment. We have that really nice kind of RTS concave. So you can see that these Huntsmen are shooting. The Huntsman General is going to be coming back in with the Arrow of Akshai. He's going to be able to shoot in with some fire damage. Granted, it won't do extra damage against Graveguard, but it's sending a message, which is always good. Huntsman here still shooting quite well. The other Huntsmen are out of ammo. Halberds and company are actually trading very efficiently here with the Graveguard. Quite impressed with these guys. And my front line this game was really solid. I mean, he had some pretty good troops. He had Graveguard. I think he had some Crypt Ghouls. No, maybe he didn't. But nonetheless, Halberds and Flagellants and Sigmar Sons are just so good at holding the front line. I love that composition. And the Graveguard are going to be crumbling, and the Sons of Sigmar, led by the Huntsman General, shall smite the foul vampiric foes this day. So we didn't get that juicy kind of dream combo off, which was a little bit unfortunate. But there was a couple times in the battle where I was like trying to do it. I did actually end up throwing one jar during the battle, but he just was like flying with the Red Duke, and I couldn't get that like good opportunity. Maybe there would have been a chance to use it on the Terrorgeist when it landed and was kind of like stuck in fighting, but like I had already used it on the Red Duke, just being a little bit greedy because I wanted to give him that 50% fire weakness and then blast him off the table with the Temple of LUMINARK. But it was kind of a bit of a pipe dream, but it could have happened. But yeah, it's very hard to pull off against like factions like this. Now, if you're playing against like giants and kind of more foot monsters and things like that aren't flying, it's much more feasible. You're able to get it off much more efficiently. And yeah, it can be pretty strong. So as far as the build goes, I think it was pretty good. Honestly, I'd probably just cut if I wanted to make it more competitive and kind of more of a stable, kind of sustainable build, I would cut the Huntsman General. You can keep the Bright Wizard. He's not bad against vampires. I would cut the Huntsman General. I'd get Marcus Wolfheart for the free net. It's just super good. I would also probably cut the Temple of LUMINARK and get another powerful cav unit. And then from there, you're going to have like Demogryph Knights just kind of hammering from multiple fronts. You're going to be able to cycle charge their infantry and their monsters. Plus Marcus is just so much better at sniping characters. Like, because I could net down the Red Duke and then I could just focus fire him with my heavy, amber bow and focus shot plus fireball. Like having that net there is really good. And yes, I did have a net on the Temple of LUMINARK, but Marcus is... yeah, it just would have been much better for sure. Granted, there might be niches for this guy, but yeah, against vampires, like their lords are just always flying and cackling and just being evil up in the sky. So it's very, very tough to catch those guys. So as far as my opponent's army goes, the Red Duke and Terrorgoose pick is pretty good. He had good swarming elements with Fellbats and Direwolves. I think had he been a little bit more conservative with the Fellbats and kept them out on the wings and then collapsed inward, like he gave me those guys pretty much for free. So that was one little mistake there. And also I would probably cut one Cairn Wraith and just get like maybe another group of Hounds or something like that. And just go a little bit wider, or even like some Black Knights, like just Varix Reavers, you name it, like some more like mobile pressure that actually packs some punch. Yeah, the Cairn Wraiths, I like them as like a one-off pick, just because they have terror and it is like one magic unit. But if they have enough magic and you go for two, it's going to be kind of a bit of a wash in my opinion. But yeah, it was not a bad build for sure. So well played to my opponent, Menace 100. Certainly the Menace. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Empire vs. Vampire Count game, and we will see you guys on the other side.